relationships that I've had that are kind of fun on there. So it's just coming from different points in my life. So some of the songs are about like relationships that I was currently having. Some are about like past relationships. Some are just like fun. So it's a little bit of everything.
So this is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new music you have out and how you got to where you are now.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Sweet. Originally from Monterey, California?
San Diego.
Oh, you are from San Diego. That's where I'm from.
Oh my gosh, shut up.
I swear. I grew up in like Poway, Penasquitos area.
Okay, I'm from, do you know where Oceanside is?
I do know where Oceanside is.
Yeah.
You're north of me.
Yeah, we're neighbors.
That's so crazy. I don't live there now, but I lived in San Diego for pretty much my entire life. I lived in San Francisco for about 5 years to do radio, and then I moved back to San Diego. But now I live in Nashville.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to Nashville next month
for
the second time.
Oh,
so
cool!
Stoked. Yes.
Yeah. So I moved here with my family about almost a year ago, actually, coming up at the end of the month.
Oh, that's awesome. I loved it when I went out there. It's so it's such a different vibe, but like so creative, and just I loved it.
Yeah, it's definitely the Southern charm to it, but it's still like pretty. I mean, it's obviously like Music City, so it's amazing.
Yeah, there was so much music. It's like all we did when we were there last time. So I'm very excited to go back.
Cool. Oh, well, so you're from San Diego. That's amazing. Talk to me about that. Obviously, I know a bit about San Diego, but I'd love to hear what you have to say about it.
Yeah, I don't live there anymore either. I actually live in LA. Okay. But I grew up there and my whole background is there. So I loved growing up there. I grew up like basically on the beach every day. It's like my thing. Playing music every day. And it just I love LA for what I'm doing now. It's just there's more room, I think, for community and like in the music world, obviously.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yes. And then like more freedom, I think, to just like be a little like, more wild with my fashion here or like whatever. But I loved growing up in San Diego. It was beautiful.
How did you get into music real quick? I'm curious on that, but then I want to talk about San Diego, just growing up in the music scene in San Diego.
Sure. Yeah. I got into music because, my parents were in a band. So, growing up, like that's how they met.
Really?
So yeah. Yeah. So,
well, let's hear about the band. Did they play when you were born and everything? Still?
Yeah. Yep. My brother and I started taking like guitar lessons and piano lessons at 6 and 7. So they were still playing in their bands and we'd go to their shows and stuff, just like local places. It's funny because I always joke about how I grew up in dive bars or whatever. Which sounds gnarlier than it is, but we just would like watch them play music and play like the arcade games and stuff and go to their rehearsals. We always stopped at like AM/PM on the way to their band practice. Okay. And we got like a hot dog and Gatorade, like went to band practice and then watch them rehearse and then watch their shows. And so I started taking piano lessons at age 7 and then did all the my recitals. Did theater in school and then started my own bands, in high school. So it just kind of like brought me to where I am now.
Whereabouts did your parents play? I'm just curious.
Just like local places, like they'd play like Hoops and Brick by Brick and
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, just like all those like I can't even to just all those that whole circuit,
That's funny. That's so funny.
It's crazy.
Have you ever played? Did you play those venues also? Because I mean, there's only so many in San Diego that you could really play at.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have played some of the same places, like Boers Crossing and stuff. Like, yeah, we've definitely. It's just funny. It's because it's two different, obviously, very different generations. So, yeah.
Do they still do the band, or that stopped?
No, they still definitely have a passion for it. I literally was just texting like my dad the other day and he's like, oh, we're at an open mic. So they went to like an open mic and we're just like having fun with it, but they don't like still play out.
That's cool though. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you classically train on piano and then did you do voice lessons and everything else too?
I didn't do voice lessons. I think I took like maybe a couple one-off lessons. Just to like get some like technique, but because my mom was a singer, she wasn't properly trained either, but she just was incredibly helpful. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, she just had like lots of great tips, and she sang like 4 hours a night. So she like she's amazing. So yeah, she was really helpful.
Mm-hmm. When did you start writing songs yourself?
I started writing songs when I was on piano. Like when I started piano at 7, I think I started writing like piano songs like from day one.
Wow.
Yeah, just because I saw my parents do it, and it was just like I thought that was like the norm, like the everyday norm,
Sure.
So I was just like, writing melodies. And then I was also really into poetry, so I would like go sit under trees and write poetry. And then when I realized like you can put like the 2 and 2 together, it makes a song. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. So it's like 2 of my favorite things to do, and then put it together. And then I think my dad was really encouraging, he encouraged me to like learn like Elton John songs, like learn other people's songs. And that really taught me like how to like format them, by learning other people's songs. Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, from day one, really.
Well, you started a band, you said, in high school. Is that the first time you were playing your own songs to people?
Yeah, I sang in my brother's bands before that. I think the first time I like sang in like a studio properly, I was like 12 or something, because he had his bands before me.
Is he older than you?
Yeah.
Okay.
A few years. So he against his will, my dad would always be like, let your sister sing. So I went to the studio and got to like learn a little bit about that. And then sorry, my dog's coming up. Hi, boo boo. It's actually good. So I got to learn a little bit about that. And I started my own band in high school, and it was actually very different from what it is now. It was very like I guess you could just call it straight up like it was rock. We did like Warped Tour and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that. I did read that. Well, in your brother's band, you sang for his band, or you just kind of got to jump in a little bit when, like, in the studio?
I got to jump in a little bit, and then when they played shows, I'd like sit in for a song or two, kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Would he play around San Diego as well?
Yeah, he played around San Diego. He played up in LA a little bit. He started to, and yeah, he was doing it. And then I think he ended up joining like another band, and they did like a different
path or something. Okay. Yeah. Is he still in music?
Yeah, he's like, working with a lot of like guitar companies and stuff like that, and doing like touring with other bands and stuff like that.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, really so cool. It's cool because I can like we'll kind of like write for each other's projects sometimes, and it's fun.
That is awesome. So the band you started in high school ended up doing Warped Tour?
We played in the San Diego venue.
Sure.
So it was really cool. I remember like being backstage and like Haley Williams like slapping my hand before she went up to perform. It was like the coolest moment. At the time I was like freaking out.
Yeah, I mean that's still pretty amazing, right?
It was amazing. It was just like the best experience. I learned so much and got to see everything like up close, and it was really cool.
How old were you when you played Warped Tour?
Gosh, I think I was like 16 or something.
And did you like, how did you get on the show? Was it one of those like battle of the band things and you like win in advance to being able to play? Okay. Yeah. Where was that? How did that all take place? Where did that take place? Like Soma?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Did you say Soma? That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Yes. I don't know if this exact, like, I can't remember if this exact situation involved Soma, but I've definitely played Soma. It's so funny. That was the place to be,
It was. I mean, it had so many, I'm probably much older than you, but it was like 4 or 5 variations of it. It always kept moving around.
Yeah.
When they put the one at Sports Arena, which is, I think it's still the one that's still there. That was like huge. I mean, that was the place. If you wanted to play an all-age show at the time, there wasn't House of Blues, Observatory didn't exist. There was no place.
I played a lot.
Super hard to play.
Yeah, I don't think I played that one, but I played Epicenter all the time.
Oh yeah, Epicenter too, and that place went under.
Did it? I haven't heard about it in a very long time, but all my friends would come out because it was like, none of us could drink.
Right? Yeah.
It was like all like we were all like so young and like just ridiculous. Yeah, it was so much fun.
I saw so many awesome bands play at the Epicenter. It's like crazy to think. Like
I feel like I played there like every weekend. It's just like in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, I played there so much. It's ridiculous.
They used to get such good bands. It was crazy. Yes. And I can't think of it. It feels like then it was like such a big place, but now thinking like really, it probably only holds like 100 something people.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember opening for like New Year's Day and like, they're like huge now. And like, you know, it's just crazy to see like all, like the progression of all these bands that like started, we kind of started the same place.
That's so awesome. The Epicenter. Oh, man, that was a great spot. I think from what I heard, it's because I used to work on 91X before I moved here to
Shut up. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I used to love 91X.
Well, when I was there, somebody told me like the news broke that the Epicenter was closing. It was such a bummer.
Yeah.
Or like not closing, but I think they just stopped doing shows, I should say.
That's no fun. We got to get it up and running again.
I know. There's really no spots like for all ages. Not a whole lot of places to play in San Diego anymore.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So you got to play, you did a Battle of the Bands. Do you remember the Battle of the Bands and winning and being like, whoa, I get to play Warped Tour?
Yeah, I remember it was kind of like an online thing, I think. It was like I just remember being like super stoked that like we did it. It was like just the coolest feeling to be like, oh my gosh, we're going here and doing this. And like I remember showing up so early and like we like all four of us, my whole band, we'd bring like our phones and headphones so that like we could like walk around to everybody waiting in line to get in, and we'd be like, listen to our songs, like look, come, we're gonna play here at this time at this stage, and like here, listen to it now, see if you like it and come over. And so like we were just like hustling and like trying to get everybody to like come to our stage, and like it was so much fun. It was just such a cool experience to like learn from and to like meet people that were participating and meet other bands, and like it was just it was awesome.
That's so cool. That was like a dream of my like in terrible bands I played in, was like, oh my gosh, to play Warped Tour, even like the, you know, the smaller stage or whatever. It was like going to that as a kid was like so.
It was. I mean, even as is at the age, it's like it was huge. You know what I mean? Like just being there was like even the small stage is just big. It's huge. So it was
just to have the access. I mean, you have the artist pass, right? Like I'm playing Warped Tour. Like that's just like a whole other level.
I do. I remember like walking in from the back gate and like going down this long hill, and like people were rolling in their gear, and it was like, oh my gosh, you know?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So is that what happened with that band? That just stopped? Did you guys just stop?
Yeah, I at the time, I think after that, when like our drummer ended up moving across the country to school, and then like, you know, the guitar player decided to do something else, and like everybody just went different directions. Yeah. And then I wanted to continue doing music, and I wanted to explore other like genres and stuff, and like kind of do like just play with, you know, more, because I, you know, when you're writing with a band, I love writing with bands. But at the time it was like hard to have like the voice that I wanted to have, if that makes sense.
Well, you had to take everyone else's opinions into consideration, right?
Yeah. And I think that I didn't write so much of the music at the time because that was like their job. And so I wrote all the vocals and stuff, but I you know, after that I got to be really like hands-on and do exactly what I wanted, which was kind of cool.
That's cool.
Too. So yeah.
What was the name of your band, if you don't mind me asking? If you don't want to tell me now, I'd love to hear after. Because I want to know if I remember seeing your name on like a flyer or anything.
It was called Oversoul.
Oversoul. Okay, yeah. I don't remember that band. Yeah. So I was gonna say
don't look it up. Don't look it up. It's not.
Well, I'm just curious. Well, it's a high school band. I mean,
exactly.
There's not many that really get further than high school.
Yeah.
That's okay. So when you graduated, is that when you moved to LA? Like, tell me about getting from San Diego to LA.
It's not when I moved to LA, actually. I like stayed home and like put all of I went to school to like learn, I just learned like recording arts, and I took a music business class and stayed in San Diego.
In San Diego? Where'd you go?
Just like community school.
Okay.
Nothing fancy. I'm like, this is nothing crazy. I did that, learned more about, you know, I just wanted to learn everything so I could be, I've just always been obsessed with music. So I'm like, I want to learn everything there is to know. So I learned music business, recording arts, got a job, and started saving so I could pay for like recording and like videos and stuff. So I wanted to put everything I had into my first, like I was starting to figure out, like play with my sound and learn about like what I wanted to do like as an artist after being in a band with like 3 other dudes. I wanted to like kind of find my voice a little bit more. And so I really focused on, developing that and like trying to figure out what I wanted to say. And then, after that I had, after I had like a batch of songs, that's when I like moved up here and just started playing and singing. Like I would just go to like any venue that I had, everybody's heard of the Viper Room. So I'd go there and like see what was up. I heard about a jam night, any jam nights that there were, I would just go by myself and like try to like meet people and like just say hey to like everyone and watch, just do the thing and like go to every band's show that I could and like go out and sing as much as I could. So it's kind of how I got up here.
Wow.
And also before I moved, while I was living in San Diego, my uncle, luckily enough, lived in Hollywood. So I could crash at his pad. Like I would come up here and like work with producers and studios and like just, I'd meet people online. It was just so like ridiculous now to like think I met somebody online and then met them in person. It just sounds like crazy. But I would come up here and meet come up here and like sleep on his couch and then like go to meet producers and then like, try and find my way around. And yeah, it was kind of fun when I look back at it.
Yeah, I mean, that was just the time, right? I mean, I remember people would find band members on like Craigslist or just anywhere.
MySpace.
MySpace.
Yeah.
And when you couldn't really do too much of a deep dive into people, like now you can obviously just like Instagram and then
oh my God,
their whole life and Facebook them or whatever.
You can totally stalk people now, but like at the time, I think, it was like MySpace and Facebook. Yeah.
You're right. And there's no other way to like really see who this person was that you're showing up to. That's just,
yeah.
So you started your solo project in San Diego, and then when you had a batch of songs, that's when you moved up to or took it up to LA and tried to get something going there.
Yeah, I always say like the project that I have now kind of started more recently because when I was doing that in San Diego, I was so like I was trying all kinds of different genres and I was like playing with so many different sounds and stuff, and so it it was like very transitional for me.
Okay. Yeah. When do you say when you put out a record called is Act One a record you put out in like 2017 or something? Was that when you felt like you had like your sound developed enough to be like, I'm gonna go in and record these songs?
Yeah, I think so, because that was more of like, even looking at those songs, some of them I'm like cringe, but I think I always do that. I always look back at things like, ugh. But yeah, I think so. Like Wanted was like it felt very me. I think like I had been, I wanted to be like really honest and like not try to be anything and not try to like be like something. I just wanted to be like very honest with the music and honest with like the lyrics. And in doing that, I think I was able to like dive even deeper and like, have the sound that I have now. So, and besides, like, I like to like evolve always anyways, but at the time, like, I think Wanted felt like the most me.
Okay. And did you kind of run with that sound then after the fact? Because that was the first song on the record, right?
Yes.
And then after the record comes out, are you doing did you release the album when you were in LA?
I think I was still in San Diego. I can't remember if I was here or there. Because I was up here, I was like couch surfing so much. So I was like, was I living here yet or not? So I can't remember actually. That's a good question.
No worries. But it came out obviously. And then are you, when you moved to LA, or is it, you talked about hustling, going to different venues and trying to meet as many people as you can. And then do you start landing shows? And what's kind of the next part of the story?
Yeah, I just started booking shows and like just local stuff and like finding like the cool ones and like, meeting people and like going to their shows and trying to like write with people and like meet other producers. It's like, I think I do a lot of production and stuff, a lot of my own production, but there's always something about like working with somebody to like finish it and like polish it that like I think is important for me anyways, for my stuff. If I produce for somebody else, it's so weird because I can be detached from it and I can say like call it finished, but for me, like whenever it's like my song and I produce it, it's like never done. So it's really helpful to like, so that process was kind of challenging also, is like finding like the right producers. That was kind of like the next step to like keep writing music after Wanted came out and stuff. And then I after the shows, I really wanted to obviously continue writing. So it's like finding the right producer is kind of like dating, because it's like you work with somebody and then like, oh, but it's not right, and then you got to work with somebody else and like, oh, it's not right. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
No, I've heard that before, right? You got to try to figure out who you're going to gel with the best to make the record that you want to make, right?
Yeah,
can't just be like, oh, this guy's a producer. Yeah, we'll just force this into making something I don't really like that much.
Yeah, so that was like a long process. That took a while, I think, and I'm very thankful for like people I have now that I'm working with. They're awesome. So yeah, that's kind of probably the next thing that happened, I guess. Yeah.
I saw that you played the jam in the van, which is such a cool thing. I love those.
I love the jam. I love jam in the van. Like when I found out I was doing that, I was like so excited. And then you get there and it's like, because I've seen like every jam in the van video. So
right. They're so rad.
Yeah, it looks so big inside on the on YouTube. It's like looks huge, and then you get there, it's like, oh my gosh. So how do they do this like all the time? It's how do they build that? I don't know. It's amazing.
Right.
Yeah, it was really, really fun.
Did you have a band at that time when you did?
I did.
Okay. Yeah. So when did you get your band together?
Jonas is like my drummer who I've been playing with forever. He was like probably he was the first one in this project with me, and he's played like 95% of my shows with me. He's just so solid. He's like my family. He's so good. He's amazing. And how did I meet him? I think I just met him through friends and like other people I was jamming with. And then he kind of introduced me to some other players. You just meet people and you become friends. And then it's just like, and then you start playing together, and it's, or vice versa. You start playing together and then become friends. It's just a lot of that, like playing with people and like, you know.
Do you feel like you have like a group now that's like kind of your band? Like
I do. I have
solidified thing.
Yeah, I have like several people actually that I'll play with, just depending on like dates, you know, when people are available and not available, right. You know, that kind of thing. Okay. Yeah, so I definitely have like a core group of people that I turn to that are amazing.
That's awesome. And where were you?
I'm super thankful for them.
Yeah, I love what you're doing. I mean, we'll talk about Good Girl, the most recent one, but I'm curious, where were you at? Were you in LA when COVID happened, and how did that affect the songs that ended up coming out in 2020?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I was in LA when that happened. And I am very fortunate because my living situation, I live with 3 housemates, and we live in a duplex, and we have a backyard, and then there are only 4 people upstairs. So it's just a very small group of people that live here. And so, we had each other. We were never like fully alone for the time, for the whole lockdown.
That's good.
Which was super fortunate. And, we had a backyard, so we didn't feel like super stuck. And it was honestly just, it was hard in that like all the venues were shut down, and like my entire, like, you know, I was singing 4 or 5 nights a week, as much as I could, really, just at like any venue down, you know, up in Hollywood, downtown, like anywhere I could. And then all that just came to a halt, obviously.
Right.
But like being home, I was able to really like just focus on writing. And that's when I wrote most of these songs. And I think that they got delayed a lot because of the lockdown, because of the, you know, everything was, you know, remote. And so, and I'm such like a hands-on person. I like want to be there, and like, I want to see it. I want to be like in person, and I, you know, for the writing, for the production, for all of it. Obviously that can't happen, but it's just ideal. And so a lot of it was remote, which was totally, you know, it's cool. Everybody's doing remote.
But you were able to write remote, or were you recording the songs remote as well?
I would both.
Okay.
But for this EP, for the new songs for like Good Girl and stuff, I wrote them here, and like right here. And
at that table you're sitting at currently?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, actually. This is my living room. And my dog, oh my gosh, he's gonna go nuts. So I wrote him here, and then we would I do a lot of, like I said, a lot of my production. So I would produce out a song like as to a stopping point, and then bounce out all those tracks, and then like send them to a producer, and they would, you know, kind of finesse them and polish, and kind of finish everything. And so, yeah, I mean, the process was very different, but it definitely got delayed, because of everything that happened. You know, ideally, I'm such an impatient person. I'm like, it's done. Let's put it out right this second. Everybody's like, no, there needs to be like a process. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Okay. But yeah, it's a fun learning process for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then you've put like, I was gonna say you put out a handful of songs last year too, right? I mean, you even put a song out in Spanish. Tell me about that one.
I did. Llama Loca is like, so half of my family is from Mexico. So, and like my great grandparents are from Spain and stuff. So I have a Latin side of me. And, it's always been like a passion of mine. And like Stacy, one of the woman that I'm working with, she's incredible. She suggested doing it. And so, it was just such a cool process, to take the song that I already written. I wrote it in English first, and then to take it and then kind of, I grew up learning Spanish, going to my grandma's house and like, being around that side of my family. So to take it. Yeah, I'm in San Diego. I know. Yeah. So, my grandma didn't speak any English. So growing up, I learned it in school in San Diego. Okay. So I was fluent then. And so it just was really cool to like reconnect with that side of my family. And like, I like got my dad to kind of like, I played it for him first just to be like, hey, look at what, cause he's from there. So it was really cool. It was very special.
That is cool. Was it hard to translate the lyrics so it like made sense melodically?
It was challenging kind of, but it wasn't like crazy difficult. It wasn't like as hard as I thought it would be, really, because you can just, a lot of the words are longer in Spanish, I think. So I just like eliminated some and just kind of finessed it a little. And I love playing with words. I love playing with words. So it was actually really fun, like more than it was like difficult, I think.
That's cool. That's awesome. And well, tell me about the new one that you just put out. This is going to be part of an EP, you said?
Yes. So, yeah. So, Good Girl. The EP is called Good Girl. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you that yet, but it's called
Thank
Good Girl.
You. I appreciate knowing. You heard it here first.
Yes. And it's coming out very soon. So that's another thing is like, I wrote so many songs over the lockdown that we have like probably too many for the EP. So I probably have to pull a couple and hold them. But, I have so many songs that I want to put out that I'm super, super excited to share. And it's just kind of like each song is about just, I guess, just coming from a different area of my life. Like, Call Me Crazy's the first single that we released. That's just about feeling like you don't fit in and feeling like, I've always felt that way, kind of like how I'm very loud. I'm very hyper. And like, I feel like I've always felt like I can be like a lot for people. So that's kind of what Call Me Crazy is about. And just like stepping into that, who you are, and just like kind of owning it. And Good Girl that just came out is also just about like finding your voice as like a woman in the world, and commanding, like, just demanding your space and just saying like, this is me. So a lot of it is just very like, stepping into who you are. And then there are some songs on the EP that are fun about like, relationships that I've had, that are kind of fun on there. So it's just coming from different points in my life. So some of the songs are about like relationships that I was currently having. Some are about like past relationships. Some are just like fun. So it's a little bit of everything.
Very cool. I like the song, the first few that you've put out on the record. So I'm interested and excited to hear the rest of it.
Thank you so much. I'm super stoked. I've been waiting like all quarantine to put this out. So I'm stoked.
So it was finished before this year, obviously? Are all the songs done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of how it's all going to kind of come out and be packaged.
Yes, I'm very, very happy and excited. And the visuals are super fun for me too. So it's like fun to like put everything together. And I love like styling. I love styling the shoots and like the videos, and like it's also just like a really, really fun creative process for me. And like the songs always just have like a clear picture in my head, like for what I want it to be. Is just really fun.
So you can already see the video kind of coming together as the song is being created.
Yeah, I think like usually the song will just like spark something that I like. I'm like, this is what this is like telling me to do. But it just depends on like what you can and can't do, in Hollywood or in the location or whatever.
Restriction. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
budget and all that other fun stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm always like, can we do this? And I'm like, yeah, if you have like $1 million. So it just depends. But that part is always so much fun for me too. I love it.
Very cool. Very cool. Are you doing any shows, or have you had a chance to play any shows since everything shut down?
Yeah, I've played a few actually, which has been so nice. The first one I played back, I played in August. That was my first one back after everything. And it was just like, oh my gosh, like it gave me so much life. I was like, I forgot how amazing this is. It was so much fun.
Were you like nervous at all to come back, or was that not even a thing?
I don't know if I was nervous. Oops. Hey.
Hi.
I don't know if I was nervous. I think it's more like, more just like just disbelief or something, that I'm like, I can't believe we're here and like doing this again. It'd been so long. But definitely like the anticipation, like up until like you actually get there and start singing is like crazy. It's just like
a lot of nerves until it's just like until you start.
Yes. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for doing this, Lex. I really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. This is so much fun.
Well, real quick before I let you go, I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Of course. I think that too much is not enough. If you ever feel like you're too much, you're not. You should just be exactly who you are. You should never be afraid to look stupid or silly, because it takes, you're going to learn so much from it, and you're going to grow. And it doesn't matter what people think. It matters that you keep trying new things, and to not let anybody ever get in your way or stop you or make you believe that you can't do it.